Today we're going to talk about Willie or William Roberts. And it's a story that every single teenager, young person, college student needs to hear, because it's a story about why we need to learn skills. See, you don't just learn skills to better yourself and make yourself more prepared to go out into the workforce. You don't just learn skills because it makes you happier. You learn skills because it makes you a better person. That's why I love homesteading, farming, all of this type of stuff, because every day you have the opportunity to learn something new. And Willie Roberts is perhaps the best example I've ever heard of this. See, Willie Roberts was born March 27th of 1863. By the time he was 17, he decided he wanted to immigrate to Utah. Him and his brother, Benjamin or BJ, reached out to an uncle named W.M. Roberts in Beaver, and they asked him to help them get a loan so that they could come out to Utah, work, pay the loan off, and then hopefully bring the rest of their family over. When it finally got approved and the Shepherd family decided to lend these young men the money so that they could come to the US, a party was thrown. Their neighbor gave them a Bible that they talk about how much they loved that Bible and reading and marking the Bible. Their mom sewed in 8 shillings each, or a total of $4, into their clothing. They took their mom's plum pudding and they decided they were going to ration it while they were on the ship. And they looked at this and they thought, no problem. How could you look at a scenario like this and just have the confidence that Willie and BJ had? It's pretty simple, because Willie and BJ both started working at a very young age. Their life story says that their first job was catching crows off of recently planted grain fields. I don't exactly know how you catch a crow, so I'm assuming that meant chasing crows off of recently planted grain fields. Then they made needles. Their dad was a blacksmith, so they learned blacksmithing. They had farmed their entire lives. They also took up things like masonry. So at this point, when he's 17 years old, Willie's believing he has no problem surviving in the Americas, thriving in the Americas, and saving up enough money to bring his family over, because he knows how hardworking he is, and Benjamin or BJ knows the same thing. So they decide to go. As they were traveling, there were a bunch of unaccompanied immigrant girls as well. They wrote that protecting the immigrant girls from the sailors was a fight from beginning to end, and that every port that they went to, men boarded the ship with the intent of taking advantage of the young women on the ship. And he talks about how they would take turns sleeping at night so that they could help defend these girls so nonchalantly, like it is just something that is expected of a good man. And that's just who he was, so that's what he did. When in all reality, he had no reason to stand up or protect these girls, other than the love he felt for them, the life he wanted to be, and the person he wanted to be. And so he did it. They finally get to Salt Lake. They're traveling back to Beaver, and they run out of money. Willie and BJ pull out the last of the shillings that are sewn into their clothes, and they spend the last of their money to buy enough grain for the horses that they can continue on their way. So they make it to Beaver with no money. The family that they have there doesn't have enough money to take them in or support them or any of that. They meet with the Shepherds and the Walkers, and BJ goes with the Shepherds, who initially paid for them to come over, and Willie goes with the Walkers, and they start working. They were working for $25 a month. Less than $1 a day. They were making about 10 cents an hour. And that's on a good day. That's on a day they got to take off early to go to church, stuff like that. BJ ends up getting hurt about 6 months after they get there. So he has lost 3 of his toes. They sew him back on, but his big toe's never the same. And Willie has to help take care of his brother now. He has to help pay off his own debts, help pay off his brother's debts, and get everything set up for his family to get over here. And in less than 2 years, he accomplishes all of that. So they get everything done. They go back to the Shepherds, and they ask for another loan, this time much, much bigger, to bring over all of their family. Shepherds had got to know him and agreed. So as they send off for him, they go and they meet with this lady, and they buy their first plot of ground for $150. Keep in mind, at this point, he is only 19. And at 19, he's already paid off his debts to come to America, taken out another loan to bring his family over, bought his first property that he's going to build the house on by hand with his brother. But because they know it's going to take him a little while to build the house, they're like, let's rent a place as well so that we can get it ready for when mom and dad get here. So they go over, they rent a place, they start fixing that place up while they're building the house on the property. Eventually, their family does get there. Their dad takes a job as a blacksmith. They build him a shop, and life is going pretty good. And then he happened to meet a girl that is basically the Princess of Beaver. Her dad was sent to Beaver by Brigham Young and told to settle the area. And so she was 17 when she met Willie. They were married shortly thereafter, and they started a life together. Initially, they did live in Beaver, but shortly thereafter, they decided they were going to move to Joseph. Willie started the Joseph Mercantile Store, which was basically the main grocery store that was there. During these years, they started having kids. They ended up having 16 children in total. And the way he ran his store helped so many different farmers. The credit he extended to him, all of the different things that he did to help them through rough times, because you got to remember he ran the store during the recession. Willie had lived his life in such a way that when his wife passed away, she wanted to be buried in Delta with their 3 children who had died as infants. So despite the fact that Willie's family was already buried in Joseph, he was 100% fine taking care of the woman that he loved, going and being buried next to her, being buried next to the 3 children that they'd lost together, and being with her family, and he wanted to do it. And it's intriguing because in the last years of his life, as his health began failing, he needed to move in with one of his kids. His oldest son, James Abel Roberts, or Abe, gladly had him come in, so he lived with him and Carrie. The story is told that Abe went in the morning, told his dad that breakfast was ready, and his dad said he'd be in a minute. After they'd eaten breakfast, they realized he wasn't there. Went in and checked on him again, and he was not doing well. So they sent across the street for Leonard, my grandpa, and for his other family members, and they were able to be there as he took his final breaths. And as they got him over to the hospital, he was just pronounced dead and sent to the mortuary. Keep in mind, he died in 1948. So this is right after World War II. Israel's just become a state. Everything's still at a very unique time frame, and his family is not wealthy. So they take him down to Beaver. They bury him. 70 years later, as my grandfather's passing away, he tells my mom he doesn't want his grandpa forgotten, and he doesn't want him not taken care of. And he asks her to ensure that she'll replace his gravestone with something nicer, something more easy to find and easy to remember who he was. He loved his grandpa so much that 70 years after his grandpa died, as he himself is failing in health, he wanted to make sure that his grandpa was taken care of even in death. He wanted to make sure people were still going to visit him. So my mom ordered the headstone and had it installed at the Beaver Cemetery. This last week was the first time I'd ever seen it. And it was intriguing to sit there and look at a man who understood that by building talents, by developing skills, he was able to not only live an incredible life himself, but share with so many others the blessings that he had, including his children and his grandchildren. And it was interesting to see how he was willing to be buried next to his wife in that cemetery, despite his own family being further away. To see the names of his 3 children, one of which was William, that were inscribed on the same headstone. It left such an impression that I started to wander, and I found the rest of the Briggs, found Sarah's parents. I found cousin Willie, who took him from Salt Lake down to Beaver. I found the Shepherds and the Walkers, who brought my family to America. And I sat there realizing the untold legacy that laid in the ground. I wondered how many other Willie Roberts, or people as incredible as this man was, were there. Because if you want to find happiness as a kid, develop skills. One of the farms I just toured, there were 10 different people, and most of them children, working on transplanting seedlings in a greenhouse. Everyone was happy, joking, and yet they were all working incredibly hard and developing new skills. They were loving their life. Look at how these individuals lived. Understand why they lived this way and what made them successful. When you're 17 and you can say, yeah, I'll travel across the ocean, 2/3 of the US, start a new home in somewhere I've never been to, I'll build a new house, I'll get all of this stuff done, open a mercantile store even though you've never opened one in your life, do all of these things because you just have the confidence of having learned everything you've needed to learn in life and being willing to work hard enough to accomplish anything you have in life. That's what we need more of. We need kids who are willing to homestead, kids who are willing to break away from the TV or social media or whatever it might be and develop a skill, develop a passion, because it truly is incredible the experiences that you're going to have doing what you truly love. And so as you hear about Willie Roberts, that's what I hope you'll do, because I love that I share my middle name is William, and I share that with Willie or William. But more so, I love the things that he's taught me. Because at 17, although I was pretty good at sports, I had very few skills. Now, as I've run heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical companies for a couple decades, it amazes me how many young people will show up, ask for a job. They'll even go to school that the government paid for, to a trade school. They'll work the job for a couple of days and they'll be like, whoa, yeah, this isn't for me. This is too much work, or this is too hard to learn. Develop a skill and you will never want for anything in your life because you can work hard enough to achieve what you need. And that was William Roberts and the legacy he left for his kids and his family and all of us.